Okay. I just needed to check whether or not my video uploads were done before I started streaming, because obviously doing both of those at the same time, maybe not the best of ideas ever. We're here, back with level design stuff. Presumably we're gonna finish this level today. I have an idea for what I want the second bit here to be. I was thinking, because we only have static platforms in this first area, right? Wouldn't it be fun if the second area kind of has like a micro version of what this entire like mineshaft is, which is platforming through a central area and then going into like a little bit of a branch, back to the central area, going into a bit of a branch, and so on and so forth. But instead of doing that in like the form of this entire mineshaft, I think what would be kind of fun to do, because this is a mineshaft, right? We're drilling up and we're mining up. So maybe what we can do here is create like a drill or something along those lines that has just like a couple of places that you can stand on. So it has some platforms attached to it. That's just endlessly rotating around. And you get on, and then you like get off at a different spot, and then you can do a little bit of platforming up. At some point, I'm gonna move into like a not shitty house and have my own goddamn Wi-Fi network that I'm not gonna use because I'll be able to just hook up to my Ethernet on my router. Today's not that day though, so we're gonna have to kind of just deal with this. So yeah, that's the basic idea that I came up with like 10 minutes before starting the stream today. I was kind of worried about having a creative, fun way to like implement this, but I think that this would kind of work. So essentially, what we want to do, I think, is I'm going to be putting in a actor. And I don't know what kind of actor that'll be for now. Eventually, I think this will just be like one giant static mesh and we'll replace this. But I guess for now, we just like make this a plane. We need to set this up in the proper level though, which is 2, 4. A plane, maybe. I just need something to pair into platforms too, so that I can just animate this one thing and everything else will like rotate around it essentially. So let's do that. I'm going to just like copy over this one for right now. And we will attach to plane. Oh, we only have one plane. That's fantastic. So yeah, now when we rotate this thing around, you can see it works properly. This does need to be in a position where, yeah, we don't have any of that weird stuff happening. So let's make the animation for this to rotate around, I guess. That will be in levels red. Let's make a sequences. Make an animation sequence for that, which is in animation. Nope. It's in cinematics, because those are two different things. Level sequence, I will call this drill. And I will just put that at the start here. So that's going to be the basic overview of how we're going to give this like something going for it. Just going to go for like 100 frames. And then this is going to be rotation. Well, this should start at 0. And then at frame 100, it should be 360. And these are linear, I believe. Well, 360 is the same as 0. I guess that makes sense. No, that's fine. So yeah, this is how quickly it's moving now. These are not linear though, so we'll select both of these and change them to being linear. So that way it rotates around linearly. I don't know how much easier I can make that. 100 frames is maybe a little too short. I'm going to dial this in using the playback speed anyway, most likely. But let's just change to 300 for now, because if we know 100 is too much, and I think 300 is still a little too fast, but we'll see. Especially since the platforming for the other ones, because we'll have I don't know, this needs to be somewhat in line with this actually. Yeah, so we'll have a couple of different ones kind of like this, and then we have one last. We might need to reevaluate exactly what kind of radius this thing should be though. Anyway, because they're all linked to each other, because it's going to be one big drill. Well, actually, I think that is pretty decent. So let's also add in a cone to this whole setup. Attached to plane. The fuck are you talking about? Why does that not work? Does Control P work? There must be some way to do that in Unreal, right? Unreal shortcut attach actor. You're not telling me that there's no easy, convenient way to do that within the viewport. I guess that is where you can make an editor utility action, but again, I'm sure that... Let's ask ChatGPT. In Unreal, how do I parent/attach one actor to another in the viewports? What is the shortcut? Outliner, using the viewport, shift and drag a child actor onto the parent actor. I doubt that that's accurate, man. Yeah, that's bullshit. That's no. Okay, so ChatGPT has no answer either. So maybe that's just not possible? That would be wild. I also don't know why I can't attach to this plane anymore, though. But I guess we can just kind of turn everything else off, and that makes this a little bit more manageable as well. Yeah, so we just pick up this and scroll down. Cannot attach actor with static. Oh, this thing is static, that's why. Now we can do that. Great. All right. So now if we zero it out, it actually goes to that location, which is fantastic. And then we just make it big. really fucking big. That also gives us a little bit more reference as to where these platforms should be, and prevents us from jumping from one to the other, ideally. So this one should be a little bit more out and over, maybe. And then wherever the hell that last one ended up going, there we are. Needs to be a little bit more out even than that. And now we have like the entire drill that is rotating around. So yeah, that gives a little bit more context and has a like nice little centerpiece for us to work with. So I think that's kind of nice. So let's start working with it. I have no idea beyond this what we're gonna do. Being 1000% honest with you, no idea how this is gonna go. But that's the beauty of things being live. Things are inevitably going to go horribly wrong. All right, so that should be a fairly makeable jump. Let's also introduce the concept of having a floor again. That was a pretty good idea before. It's a pretty novel little concept, a floor. For anybody who doesn't know what it is, it's something that means you won't fall into the void and suffer for all eternity. It's actually a pretty good invention. You really should consider having one. Like in your game, but also like in your house. It's actually a pretty universally useful thing. All right, so for now, that's going to be the floor that we work with. We can jump on right here, and let's say that we then have a platform exists like over here that we jump over and away from. And I'm going to move the the checkpoint that we spawn in on up. Because I don't want to do all of this platforming every time we want to test something out. That's bananas. We're not going to do that. I'm just going to spawn right the fuck over here. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to spawn right the fuck over here. And this thing should autoplay and loop. I just realized. So loop indefinitely. And now we hope that I have a save file in this level, which I do. I knew that. Yeah, so this is definitely too fast. Play rate. Let's set that to like 40% of the speed. Because that is definitely too fast. It's kind of hard to judge these speeds when you're not like in-game, right? It's also kind of annoying that this... get to like this platform or something. We just have to worry about the fact that you like wouldn't be able to. We can actually just test that. Hold on. Like how feasible is it to see this stuff from like down here if you're like all the way over there? Yeah, no, that would be visible. That would be visible. So it would need to be loaded as soon as you get to like here at the latest. At which point there are like too many variables about having to do like this little bit of jumping to really make it consistent. To like show up here. I guess what we can do though is because if you're standing like right here, well, no, that's still... But by the time you're on like this platform, it's impossible to see, right? So we could place a trigger here that forces the thing to be in a position where it's likely to just line up as you come, like walking up. Or even like when you overlap with this one, because unless you're like literally platforming up like this, where you are trying to like look for it, and even then, like the moment you initially overlap with it, so I think we could even like do it on this one. So let's place a trigger volume there. We'll worry about that like a little later, implementing stuff with that, but we can like put a trigger box in here. All good. And then when we overlap with that, that will be, I guess, like 80% or something. I'm just going to do it right now because it's going to bother me. Nice effect is also if you leave and come back, it'll feel like, oh, I'm just like arriving here just in time. Which might be a nice thing to experience. So let's open the level blueprint 424. And then get reference to this and this. I'll do this on the main monitor so that you can see. So yeah, we just I guess we don't actually need a reference to that thing. We only need to bind to it, right? So we can just add event. Your tutorial didn't show me how to download C++. Can you show me? You don't need to. You might need to download like Visual Studio, but like that's just like you can find it fairly easily on Google because like Microsoft has like stuff written for that. So that should be fairly easy to find. Now, setting up your IDE with like Unreal might be a little bit more tricky. Might need to make a video on that. That's a good point. If you're not using Visual Studio, but for now, just use Visual Studio. Set play like time. Set time. I don't know. Set the current time position by evaluating from the current time, specified time. So I'm guessing this is in seconds. Should really... Oh, params frame. That seems... Subframe. This is frame number? Frame number, that's what I want, I think. That makes most sense to me. To rely on like the frame number. So there's a little bit of trial and error here, but I'm guessing like about the 190 range might be nice. So let's do like 190. And if the overlap actor is get player character, I really should just make a macro for that. Because I'm doing that in so many places. Which is why people tend to just like use a cast for that instead. Which is fine. But you know. So if I now do this and then come back, when I come out it should be... that doesn't seem like that did anything, not gonna lie. Because that's the overlap actor, I need to check the other actor. Why do I consistently make that mess up? Okay, so let's try again. And then when I come out, the timing seems perfect, right? But that's because we engineered it that way. So yeah, that's grand. And then we make this jump without too much trouble, and we're off to actual platforming stuff. So, how do we do? I'm thinking keep this one relatively straightforward. Let's look at what we did last week as inspiration. This is not platforming. Where are we? There we are. So we had some platforms that move up and down. We had some of these flamethrower things, which I'm probably gonna reuse. And then that was kind of it. Oh, we also had some of these. Yeah, so probably like those trapdoors are kind of nice to reuse, right? So we can say what are those called? Oh, that's called like flamethrowers or something. It really should be in my favorites as well. Fire hazard. Let's add that to favorites. Fire hazard and then trapdoor. There we go. So the fire hazard we can just place down here. The size will only be like 1 thick. It's fine. That'll do. And then we place down a couple of trapdoors. Increasing height. I think 3 of these in a row is probably the most that you realistically want. Right? Any more probably feels like it's getting a little bit unreasonable to assume people will have like that many consecutive jumps without having any pause. For a game that's not a platformer, like by nature. Also, this one, I think. How high up are we? I think we're already at the height where let me think. Yeah, so maybe this needs to become a little bit bigger, but we can also make the actual like drill part a little bit more like angled. It doesn't need to be like this this amount of sharpness for the gun. It can be a little bit sharper. That's fine. But I guess we'll figure that out. So yeah, I think that this one is going to need to be up a little bit higher. And then it's going to be like right around this area, so... Yeah, so what I'm thinking is maybe we don't make it all around this one drill. I think what we might want to do is we might want to like move this up just a bunch higher. And I just realized what we can actually, no. I was going to say what we can actually do is make this a rotating movement component. But the whole thing here is that we can actually, for now we'll keep it as a sequence, I guess. But we could make this a rotating movement component so that it's like a little bit more independent in the way it works. But I'm sure it's fine. Um, 45 degrees is just too much of a slope to walk on. Well, I don't know if my character would like actually refuse to do that, but it doesn't feel good. So what we can do if we make this into two separate drills, I thought I was copying things there, that kind of scared me for a moment, is essentially rotate this around, first and foremost. Just add in a second drill right next to this, so that we have to jump from one onto the next. Which means that they'll always be like in sync with each other. So that means that they're going to need to be part of this same sequence. But for now, let's just try out this like initial setup that we have. And it's going to take a minute for it to come around, I think. But that'll be fine. It's probably still too fast, actually. Probably needs to be even slower than it is right now. But if you miss the opportunity to jump on, if it is slower, it's also going to take longer. So maybe it needs to have like just 2 or 3 platforms. That's probably the way to do it, isn't it? Just have like 2 or 3 platforms taken out. Because there's no real reason not to, I guess. It's not like that creates any opportunity to like cheese the platforming like in any way. That's actually, yeah, I think that's the way that we're going to do it. Is it's just going to have like 4 platforms on each side. But from like a platforming challenging perspective, I think that this is pretty much the right speed for like the jumping challenge. Because it does like keep you on your toes a little bit, right? But then when this happens, you obviously don't want to have to like stand around for a Mortal Age 2. Can you just jump onto this one directly? You 100% can. Which I guess that's fine. Being able to just jump on at the bottom. It's not actually that big a deal. It's not like you can jump right onto that one, right? That's the only thing. I kind of like the aesthetic of it being kind of like asymmetrical in like the... Well, it's not really about symmetry, but hopefully you understand what I mean. The fact that it's kind of like asymmetrical in its Z direction, where the platforms are like on one side at the bottom and on the other side at the top. Like that makes it feel aesthetically more like interesting. Oh, well, that certainly happened. Well, at least if you fall down, it's actually pretty easy to fall down onto the moving platform on the other end. So that's pretty that's pretty good. Let's try again. There's no real use in hurrying up and getting on early. Because we need to wait until we're like all the way over here anyway. Because we're going to be like jumping from here down to like there. So that's actually like literally useless. So what is this? Why are you here? I guess what we can do is we can make this one only have 2. And then we can have this one... Maybe 2 is enough. Maybe 2 is enough. Let's just assume that 2 is enough for now. We copy everything over. Oh, we also need to copy the cone over. That is the most important. Well, maybe not the most important bit, but it's the most defining bit, I'll tell you that much. Yeah, so and then this will line up fairly well, I think, with, well, maybe not quite, but this will maybe line up decently well with having another door like existing on this height. And it would even kind of work with, like, spatially, putting a room here. That's like the pre-boss room. It's just like a small room, a little more than a hallway. So having that here, spatially, actually kind of works out as well. I think like 5 minutes. And then I want them to rotate in opposite directions, right? So this directions, right? So this one is... Why did you do that? Oh, because that doesn't auto key. Can we set up auto keying? I thought I had auto keying set to create a new keyframe. There we go. So yeah, this one rotates in that direction. So this one should rotate in the opposite direction, which is, I guess, just into the negative direction. So it's literally just this minus 360. Which might not work that way, but we'll see. Well, and then it needs to be linear. But yeah, that pretty much does it. Well, all of these need to be linear as well then. Are they for this one as well? Yeah, they are. So yeah, I feel like this platforming shouldn't be too rough because this is going to be a jump that you're going to miss like a couple of times, most likely. So you probably should like steer clear of that being a difficult jump. Does this like clip in at any point? No, it does not. So where do we jump off that? Because we jump on right over here. So I would say we jump off at 180 degrees and then rotate like platform back around to over here. At which point we jump onto this, do 180 degrees and end up over here-ish. Right, that's roughly the height that we should be at, I think. We don't have gizmos for this in this mode, so that's a little bit annoying. Guess what we can do is we can just copy this over and move it across. I'm such a genius. Oh, but no, I'm not actually, because we need to... Okay, after we detach that, we can move it across, and now we have a good reference for the height that thing should be at. And I guess this just... It's a blockout, it's fine. Just like that. Alrighty. So that's the theme of this second platforming room, I think, is just like platforming around these two drills. And then we just need a third little platforming segment that actually like finishes off the... This is not symmetrical though. Is that going to bother me? I don't think that's going to bother me. No, because we need to like platform around here anyway. Because we're going to be platforming around the like outer edge here. So if we fall down, we don't fall down all the way. We'll have a ladder anyway. This is likely just possible to dash across. I do realize that. And we're just gonna kind of ignore that fact, okay? I don't need to think about that too hard. We'll probably like put a chandelier in between or something. Just to pretend like it's not an issue. I guess this one should like go up at least a little bit higher. Take this. We'll make the actual platforming out there in a moment. Don't worry, I didn't forget. Massive fucking ladder. Quite important. Actually, it does go up like very high compared to even the last one. I thought the last one was a big one, but we have like little ladder, big ladder, and then one that's like even like 20% bigger or something, 15 maybe just, but it's quite a bit bigger. And we'll need to set something up for these to like lock and unlock. Can be as easy as just, why is this offset? Oh, I actually, that makes sense. Well, that's kind of okay. It's a little like sloppy, but opening's probably big enough, right? I'm gonna say that it is. This is offset because it's all based on the alignment that I had here. So not fantastic, but again, it's all block out stuff anyway, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. And then we kind of just like do some fairly simple platforming across like this, I think. So we have this one, go to that one, go to that one. Go to that one. Again, this is gonna be a tall fucking level, if you couldn't you couldn't tell. And I guess this one does a little cheeky like bend around the corner, maybe. Well, this is probably just where the door to the next section is going to be located, I think. Which is going to need to have a higher roof. I know. So yeah, this will be, from the inside at least, the actual height of the entire mine shaft. Which, yeah, so looking at this from the bottom up, I feel like the idea that you're going to need to platform all the way up here is going to feel quite intimidating, and that is the idea, right? Like looking up like this, and you're like, oh, there's just like a lot of stuff that's happening, and that I'm going to need to like interact with, and that's scary. And then people close the game and never play it again, and they leave a bad review because they're scared. And then I can say get good and get bad press because I'm bullying my own customers. Because that's what's gonna happen. I don't know, man. It's been a long day. I'm just rambling. I don't know what I'm saying. But at least I'm being productive, so that's something. Even if my ramblings are like the actual ramblings of a madman at this point. Everybody at YouTube thinks it's important for me to like share this info. I might as well not do it because I'm more productive when I'm not like hanging out and talking. I will make quicker and more progress if I'm just working on my own. Live streams are a nice way to like force me to do work though. on days that I might otherwise not do it. But if my internet connection just literally will not allow me to, like, what is the fucking point at that point, right? At that point, I might as well just, like, fucking record it and upload it later. Which sounds stupid, because it is. Yeah, I think I'm just going to, like, cancel this shit if this keeps up. Because, like, what? Am I back? Am I stable? I think I'm stable. Okay, so if this internet thing keeps up, I'm just going to, like, stop for tonight, because this is... But I seem to be stable, so that's good. This doesn't seem evenly spaced at all. No, it's pretty good, I think. That's 900. This is like 200 more. It's 200 more. 200 more. No, that's pretty good. Toothbrush, hello. Except I'm being a problem. Am I still uploading data? No. No, I'm not. So yeah, now what's happening? People in the house here, fucking up my internet connection. That's what's happening. And it's really fucking annoying. It's good now. Hopefully, it's going to like remain stable, because like sometimes I have no problems for like a month at a time, and then sometimes I barely can do any streams for a month because other people are just like fucking me up. And I'm like actually fucking done with that shit. There's nothing I can do about it. So like, it's really frustrating. Anyway, now that we have that out of the way, let's keep it up and do some platforming. So I think what we're going to do, here we need to like loop around about a 90-degree like angle up to this height. And I kind of liked the idea that we had over here with like a long bit of platform, so that we have a little bit more like maneuverability when it comes to... Wow, that's super misaligned. Good old bandwidthing isn't bandwidthing. Yeah. Traffic jams and slow internet. The issue is mostly that we have like 3 people on like one router, and for the most part that's like not a big deal. But I'm the furthest away from it, and I'm like on a Wi-Fi extender that is like shared with somebody else on a network that's shared with like one more person. So it's like, it's an actual like IT nightmare is what it is. And there's no real other alternatives aside from me like literally just spending like getting a 5G router. Still only physically one internet port present in this house because it's supposed to be like one house. So I'm kind of like stuck on this like really bad situation. Like I might actually look into if we can set up like Ethernet over power. Because that might be a more stable solution, but I don't know. Because I don't think that's like particularly expensive necessarily. So that might be pretty like... And now I seem to be back again. So I was thinking about Wi-Fi over or Ethernet over power. Maybe that's a thing that I can like talk about with the person that lives on the floor that actually has the internet connection. It would be using up like one of their power outlets, though, of course. But at this point, like it's either that or I'm not going to be paying for the internet anymore. I'm going to pay that towards something else. But that's the research that I have to do, like at some other point, not on stream. So yeah, maybe if this doesn't like balance itself out within the next like 10 to 15 minutes, I might just call the stream short for tonight, and I'll fucking, I don't know, just hope for people dying between now and Thursday. I don't know. Or at least not being home. They don't have to die. Because if they die, somebody else will move into the room, which will actually like not solve the issue at all. And it will be fast because the housing market is an absolute fucking mess. So it's not even going to be like it's going to take months for somebody to move in. Like if somebody like dies, there'll be somebody new living there like next week. I don't know why I'm talking about people dying. Obviously, don't want that to happen. Especially now that I've said it out loud, because that's going to make me look very suspicious. So let's pretend like I didn't say that. Then again, I don't know. Oh, of course, I say that right at the time where the internet is like stable for 2 seconds. I was going to ask, unless we have like no connection now and this isn't being like broadcast, but it is. So yeah, if next week I'm in jail, you know why. But I'll probably be fine. Probably the easiest solution would be a mesh system in your case. I've never heard about that. What's that? Because if that's like a doable solution and something that I can actually implement, that would be nice. But any solution is probably going to be like either not possible or too expensive. Is this a C++ project? Yeah, it is. We have like a bunch of C++ code all over the fucking place. Also a lot of Blueprint code. It's a little bit of both. I like using both. I really like Blueprint. I just don't like Blueprint for like bulk code. Does that make sense? And I also like the fact that I can AI generate C++ code with like Copilot and stuff. It's a Wi-Fi extender, but done better. I might need to look into that then, if that's like a thing that I can do. But again, I think I'm just kind of fucked because when people use like bandwidth and I'm on like a Wi-Fi network with like a couple of people that's being extended in anyway, like I'm literally 2 floors away from the router, which is not great because there's concrete between every one of these. Well, actually, the floors that I'm on, I don't think there's concrete in between. There is definitely concrete in between the other 2 floors. I think there's no concrete in between this floor and the one below me to provide Wi-Fi and tunnel back to the main Wi-Fi. That does sound a lot better if you're like tunneling through, because what I don't know what is the issue. It might be some kind of like weird interference thing. My phone also, like I have 2 phones. Those things tend to be fairly like robust. And it's only like 2 years old as well. But all that doesn't explain why my PC is having issues, because there should be no reason that my PC is having issues. Yeah, so that's the issue, right? I'm renting, and I don't think like the internet isn't even like provided as part of the house. It's like one of the other people living here has the subscription, and we all just pitch in to like pay for it. So it's not even like the whole internet situation isn't even done through the landlord, which is like fucking bananas if you're renting out a house to 3 people. Without them being able to like get their own individual like internet connections, to not have the internet included in the rent. Like that is like fundamentally already an issue. For now, trying to lower the quality. I'm already like at a very low bitrate. I'm streaming out in the AV1 codec so that I can have a low bitrate. Let's see. My output for streaming is already like it's already 6,000 kilobit. If I go down to like 720p, that's not actually going to save me that much bitrate. And 6,000 kilobit is effectively like already near nothing. Like that's so little. Ruining the compression of what I'm doing right now. But yeah, it's wait, what the fuck happened to... God damn it. I didn't copy these things over, I just moved them. AV1, amazing. Like that's real without too much trouble, and I can even like run a local LLM together with all this stuff. Which is fantastic. This actually does make it look a little bit more like interesting shape-wise if I do this, I think. Upgrading my GPU, like the fact that I can now encode AV1 because like 40 series GPUs have that functionality is like maybe the most amazing upgrade in there. I've noticed if people using Netflix or Hulu, those services hog the lane pretty bad. Yeah, because that does take like quite a bit of bandwidth. Like ideally, that shouldn't interfere with me because what I'm doing is uploading, and they're downloading technically. But I guess that's where Wi-Fi is just like not that good. And I think it's not even a Wi-Fi 6 router most likely that we have. So that might actually be like a thing that we could look into upgrading that, but maybe not. I don't know. Like in a perfect world, their download bandwidth shouldn't like hog anything from my upload. But in practice, like it definitely does. And again, I very much doubt that either one of these people is uploading enough data like this consistently to the point where I would actually like have this problem. So it has to be the fact that they're like just hogging lanes with purely download stuff, which makes no fucking sense, but must be the case. I'm also like no system admin, so there might be like a good technical reason for their download behavior fucking up my upload that I'm not aware of. There very likely is. But I can see people like streaming like Netflix or like Hulu or just like any streaming service being an issue. Because that is like either like 1080p or God forbid 4K video being streamed in. And that is, I guess it's essentially what I'm doing, but the opposite. With the added benefit of it being very unlikely that Netflix at this point runs on AV1. I don't know what codec they would run on. I am assuming H.264. Wouldn't know what else would be happening, but they probably aren't doing AV1 because you need like hardware to decode that in real time. And unless they're doing like some kind of hardware check on your end to see if they can send you AV1, not everybody has that hardware. Like a lot of people don't. Most people don't. Especially if you're like watching it on your phone or your TV or whatever. So they must be sending like H.264. That makes sense. If it's like Netflix, it downloads things like in chunks for buffering. So every so often it'll like hog some bandwidth to get some more chunks. And I guess that also makes sense because we seem to be stable now again, right? For the most part. So I guess it makes sense that if somebody's just like put a movie on 15 minutes ago, if we're stable now, like 20 to 30 minutes later, it's probably like got most of the movie downloaded. And it's just like playing it now. So I guess that is what is happening. Doesn't solve my issue though, because I can't really say, hey, could you... It's popping up with the error again. No. No, YouTube, you don't do that in the middle of me saying that was stable. Also, there's something blinking behind OBS, but that's probably not a big deal. So yeah, what we were doing here was a thingamajig. What even is this? What is this? Oh, this is just part of the ceiling, I guess. Okay. Let's move this over a little. But yeah, whatever the case, I don't think it's like anything that I can like really do anything about, because I can hardly say, hey, you people, Tuesday, Thursday, you're not allowed to watch Netflix because I say so. Like I could say that, but that would make me a giant dickhead. So I just need to like get rich and buy a house. So anybody wanting to help with that, super chats are open. I don't remember what streaming service it was, but there have been some that have AV1, but you have to toggle that on yourself. I mean, that makes sense, that they would implement it at least, right? Because anybody using AV1 is saving them a lot of money, because it effectively almost halves the bandwidth that they need to like send out to get similar quality. So I'm sure that like Netflix or Disney Plus or something like that would love to like send out as much AV1 as possible. And I personally love the codec. Like anything that can use AV1, please do so, because it's just legitimately in every conceivable way. It is just an improved version of H.264. It's just literally better. Aside from the fact that it does need like GPU decoding. That is maybe not the most ideal thing, because that might make it difficult for like mobile devices at this point. But I'm sure that that'll get figured out at some point. In that regard, AV1 actually is very similar to ray tracing. Bear with me here, but it's it's big companies offloading their costs onto individual consumers. Just buy your neighbors an Intel video card. I mean, at that point, I'm better off just doing the whole 5G router thing, right? Because I don't know. How much is the cheapest, like, Intel card at this point? Because I would have to buy a 5G router and then get a data plan. So probably, like, buying 1 or 2 Intel cards would be cheaper within a year. Anyway. Or I can just keep complaining and hope that things stop because they hear me. That would be ideal. But that's probably not what's going to happen. Yeah, so let's like put down a couple of fucking trapdoors here or something. I have no idea. I'm just placing down blocks and hoping that they do something at this point. I don't know, man. If at any point housing becomes not entirely fucked, I'm sure that that's going to be the point where like my issues are solved. Anytime before that, I doubt that my issues will disappear on this end. So expect me to stream consistently sometime in like 2050. Around the time that this game is going to be done at the current pace, so that works out. Oh, we need to get a lot more fucking height, don't we? Holy shit. Okay. I don't know if we're gonna make this. Yeah, that doesn't seem that doesn't seem like a good time. Like at all. But what we might be able to do is a fun little thing called, I don't know if this is gonna work for the record. But we might be able to like go back and forth with these. So if I just put them like a little closer together. Without this one. I think that's going to be like a little too tight to actually jump in between. Yeah, I don't think this is gonna work very well. But then again, this is also going up way higher than we need it to be. So maybe like this is all we need to do. Yeah. I don't know why I'm thinking that I need to do. It's way more difficult than it needs to be. You just do this. Voila, we're done. Kind of. That'll do. Voxel Art Lab, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, so this will do. It'll be like just part of the flooring and like just like world space. Then again, that means that if you fall off here, jump needs to be way less less precise. This jump, however, perfectly doable. Yeah, so now we're like losing some frames again, so it's probably like buffering. Because the universe hates me. But yeah, I think that this is like pretty good. It might be good to like tutorialize those trapdoors a little bit within this dungeon before you get to this. Oh, this might actually be kind of tricky to... tricky in a good way. You can just kind of jump around this one. Yeah, so maybe that's something that we need to look into as well. Is there any way to like cheese? I don't think so. Yeah, because that might. It's a very tall ladder. But it works, so that's good. Alrighty. I think that's pretty decent. Yeah, I think that's a pretty decent like little area to play around with. Now, there is definitely I think more or less, no. More or less what we do is we duplicate this wall. Let me just kind of move this one in a little bit. Yeah, stream's fucked, I know, man. I know. It's also fucked that I didn't put my phone on silent before starting the stream. It's not double fucked. Seems like it should have stabilized that now, though. I'm sending data again, so that must be a good thing. At that point, if it's fucking up, that I'm gonna blame that on YouTube. See, doesn't this immediately look better? Having some like tighter spaces, less open areas, that kind of stuff. That instantly improves the like look and feel of this area, I think. I maybe even like make this a little bit like lower down. At this point, I'm like worrying about things that straight up do not matter, because we're all going to do like actual art assets for this in the future. But even for those, we're kind of fucked. So yeah, this is that's kind of like the vibe of this area, I would say. Just adding in a couple more of those like diagonal walls makes it immediately feel so much less just like blocky. Which I've said about 4 times now, but it remains true. So I'm gonna keep saying it. Even if it like actually doesn't really matter that much. But it makes like I know what I'm doing.